are back.
Back.
Back like we never left. We appreciate y'all holding us down. We owe some explanations. Nah, but we really want to appreciate everybody that's been reaching out to us, asking us if we cool, what's going on with the pod.
Right.
We good.
It felt good that people cared that we was gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dang,
It's been a minute. It's been It's been before Christmas break, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was.
It's been before Christmas. But we're gonna get to that. First and foremost, this is G_focused. We got Steph.net in the building. This is a ReVerb Experiment podcast where we talk about everything Black culture. And we are going to just get into it and explain and give you guys answers and just give you guys some exciting news on where we're going to go with the pod, on what's happening, what's shaking, and the whole nine. First and foremost, I want to announce that going forward, this will be a listener-supported podcast.
Yes.
So we are asking for donations.
Donations, gifts.
And we will give you guys more information on that in the upcoming podcast. Don't want to talk about it into depth now, but to be transparent and be truthful, creating content is challenging at times. We'll say that. But we love doing it.
Right.
And we love the platform that we've created. We love the people that we met. We love the connections that we met. So we would love to keep this going. And in order for it to get to where we want to get to it, we would love to give everybody the opportunity to invest, donate, give their love, their appreciation, their donations to help us get to where we want to get to, because I feel like that in order to get to where we want to get to, we do need to have it grow. And it's just me and Steph.
Right.
So we do the writing of the show. We do the editing of the show. We do the marketing of the show. We do everything.
It's a 2-man band.
Yeah. And I don't want to discount. So we have had help behind us from spouses, from family members, but the majority of it is on me and Steph. So that's not to put it on nobody else. It's not to say that, that anybody else is responsible for our platform, because we ultimately decided to do it. But just like any other radio show, just like any other podcast, just like any other content creator, you need funding and support to grow. And
you have to actually open up the door for that support. I feel like a lot of times we don't. Like, you'd be surprised how many people are willing to support you monetarily and give donations and gifts and that type of thing. But if you don't ask, or you don't put the opportunity out there,
closed mouths don't get fed.
Hello.
That's what it is. And to be honest, like, for the people that are just now listening that may have not started with us, that are just now listening, I don't even know what episode this is. I think it's like 58 or 50. It's in the 50s. I don't know. For those that are just now listening, so the reason why we started this podcast was because we wanted to have more of a positive conversation around anything that's Black culture. Obviously, there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of, especially now since we've been on break, it seemed like podcasting has turned into battle of the sexes.
It really is. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, like, we get into some things on here, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I feel like you can't complain about the content that's out there and not do nothing about it. So either you gonna focus, like, and be intentional about the content you consume, or put out the content you want to see.
Put out the content you want to see.
That's like your option.
Yep. And I feel like the content that I've been seeing, some of it is genuine, but a lot of it is trigger baiting. It's shock factor. Kevin Samuel, trying to fill the void of that. There is a podcasting usually is exaggerated speech, like you're kind of like in theater when you kind of exaggerate your opinions and you say these hot takes, and I can tell a lot of the podcasting that y'all doing is what will go up on TikTok or what will go up on Instagram and picking arguments to have to go viral instead of having meaningful dialogue that will advance. So for those that are just listening to us, our platform is dedicated to advancing the culture.
Right.
And having difficult conversations but for the betterment of other culture.
And we're gonna KeKe. We're gonna
have a good time.
You know what I mean? But
we're gonna have fun. But we don't sit here and like behind the scenes when we write our content, we do not say, let's pick out the most triggering conversation we can have.
And when I feel like, well, I can only speak for myself, but like when we have these conversations, I don't be like, well, I'm going to take this stance because I feel like it's going to be the most controversial. Like, no, I'm going to stand on what I actually feel and believe in. And some people going to agree with it.
Yep.
Some people ain't. And that's fine. But I feel like you said, a lot of people are out here trying to be offensive or controversial or whatever. And it just, I don't know, like even when some people post stuff and they'll ask for like, you know, what do you guys think about this? And it's like, I can't even respond because I know that like this is skit, it's fake, it's everything is like exaggerated. Like I don't even want to get into this conversation because this ain't real. Yeah. Like it's
curated.
It's curated to trigger people
for the algorithm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to even. I like that we create the space to have genuine conversations around certain things.
Our views. Yeah. We've never had a conversation of what stance are you going to take for the betterment of the podcast.
Yeah.
It is genuine opinions and takes. And I think that's what we wanted, something authentic. And to be honest with you, just a lot of the podcasts I've seen while we've been on break are not authentic. And are very, like I said, very algorithm based, like based on the result of it and not the actual conversation. So we are dedicated here to having those conversations. If you go back into the podcast, you will listen to episodes about mental health, about relationships, finances,
everything,
politics. I mean, any topic you can think of, I think we've probably covered it.
Gun safety, everything
to the best of our ability. College prep, all that.
So yeah.
So we've feel like that we've done a good job, but we have been on break, and we are going to explain the break because I know a lot of people have been asking what's going on. Some of it is very personal, but I feel like my brand is being transparent, but I also, during this break, I've also realized that not everything has to be shared with you guys.
Hello.
And, so I've internally battled with what to share and what not to share because it is, especially when you're still going through something, it is not, you kind of want to protect your space.
Yep.
So, with that being said, for the most part, the people that I love, they know what's going on. So I'm okay with sharing it just because I think the people that are probably listening to this podcast are probably the people that genuinely do care for the most part. It's been, I would just be honest with you, it's been challenging. So back in December of last year, so 2022, we found out that my 3-year-old son was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer. Specifically, it is referred to as a Wilms tumor. He was sick. We thought it was just an infection. And when we took him to the doctor, they thought the same thing. They said it's an infection or that he was, that it was just a common cold. So we brought him back. He was still having the same symptoms. We took him back. Long story short, they found out that he had a tumor on his kidney. So this is the week of Christmas. So it was, obviously as a father, extremely shocking. Last thing I would have ever expected to happen. Up until that point was very healthy, had no issues, had nothing going on. So from December to now, it has been a rocky road to say the least, but for those that have been listening to this podcast, you know that where my faith lies. And you know that I do believe in God, and I believe in the true God, the only God. And God has shown up for us more than anybody could ever imagine. You know, my faith is, if it was already on a 10, it's on 100 now. He's doing a hell of a lot better. When we went into December, the disease, the cancer had spread to his lungs. So he was unable to breathe on his own when we were in the hospital in December. Steph just saw him just a minute ago. He's up, running, walking, talking, reading, the whole nine. So we are currently going through chemotherapy. I appreciate all of the love and the prayers that you guys may send. He has already gone through radiation treatment, and we've been in and out of the hospitals, blood transfusions. Anybody that has ever dealt with cancer or had a family member that has had cancer, you guys probably understand what that will feel like, but magnetize that times 50 when you're dealing with your own child. And at 3, I didn't even know 3-year-olds could get cancer. So we have been dealing with that. And you know what? It's honestly been, and I don't want to say this to minimize what I've been going through, but it has been very humbling, and eye-opening. Just because you don't know what you don't know.
Yep.
And that has exposed me to people that I would not normally come across.
Yeah.
So I have a totally new respect for just the hospital profession, just in general.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
we've gone to UC Davis, and I have the utmost respect for UC Davis. Just the nurses have been amazing. The infusion staff has been amazing. And just the amount of love that they've shown, the surgeons, everybody. I haven't had an issue with not one person at that hospital. And just the attention to detail, just the amount of care. It's also exposed me to other families that are also going through cancer or terminal illnesses or sicknesses, because, when you're on the ICU unit, you're dealing with anything from leukemia to, things that you have never even heard of. So to see families going through that, especially the week of Christmas, and just to see the amount of donations that other families have given to UC Davis and organizations that make Christmas be Christmas for those families and my family, it really does show you a lot of the things that we worry about or talk about or argue about or deal with just don't matter.
It don't.
It just don't matter. And I'm not going to put no names out there, but it's very specifically, I remember walking past the family's room, and I just overheard the conversation. And, obviously we're dealing with it, especially at the beginning of it. I didn't know what we were dealing with.
Right. Like, because you're just like,
we're just figuring out what it was.
It's the information overload.
You have to do the biopsy. You got to figure out what it is. What stage is it? Is it terminal? Is it, you know what I mean? At that point, I didn't know if he was going to live or die. So it was a lot. But the God in me was like, man, like, I also need to be praying for these other families as well. So I passed by a room, and they were trying to figure out what was going on with the young child, like maybe like one or two. And they said that there was a blood disease that they did not know what it was as of yet. So I'm just like, man, like, even though I'm going through what I'm going through, that, and it's like hearing news like that is like, how do you deal with that? Because if they don't know at that moment, it's like, that's scary.
Yeah.
And like, just talking to different families, like there was a father that I talked to where his son had leukemia, and, we have been going back and forth for the last 6 months, 6 months, 7 months, something like that. They had been battling his leukemia for 2 years. So it's like, whenever you think you have it bad,
yes,
and I don't want to say that he got it worse, but just there's always somebody else that's going through something. And the fact that we live our lives and we're not even exposed to that side of it.
Yeah, I think that's something I always say is like, you never know what people
are dealing with.
You never know. And it's for me, it's a natural thing to be on my mind. Like when I interact with people, I wonder like, well, maybe this is like, I don't know, just how my mind works. But I think that we all should think like that. Like when you're interacting with people, just, take that into consideration.
You don't know what they're dealing with. So as I was, and then on top of that, you got to navigate. I'm still going to work.
Yep.
I'm still married.
Everything is, you still got bills due. You like life is still continuing to life.
Life is still continuing. So just like you said, you don't know what somebody's dealing with. So I'm still dealing with people on a regular day basis, and people are interacting with me, checking with me. Hey, what's going on with the podcast? All this stuff is going on as this is going on. So it's like, I kind of want to tell everybody, but at the same time, at that moment, when you're in prayer mode, when you're in fasting mode, when you're in like, I don't know what's next, is like, I had to lock in. And I'm like, I can't really give energy to, not to say that I don't trust the other people I would be telling, but it's like, at this point, it's me and God. Because I don't know what this is. Is this something that's going to take his life? So, fortunately, it's not. Fortunately, kids are very resilient to the point, like I said, he is doing so much better. His treatments are supposed to be done in September. Obviously, there's still some hurdles that we have to get over, but God is good, and that's the only thing I can say about it. And but at the same time, just being exposed to it just has given me such a new sensitivity to just cancer, just in general, just illnesses, just in general. And if I did not have God, I don't know how I would have been able to get through the last 9 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Because,
what do you stand on? Where's your hope if you don't, you know what I mean? If you don't have I don't even want to say higher power, because I don't think I'm giving God his proper respect. If you don't believe in God, I just don't know how you would get through something like that. And typically things like this tear families apart. Our family came together and we all pitched in, and we all, spent weeks upon at the hospital and taking time off of work. And, my job was perfectly okay with it. Like, they were super supportive. So everything along the way was like, I saw God in everything. Like, okay, like there was favor in every single thing that we did. All the surgeries he went through went perfectly fine. Like, there was it was just, and I don't want to say smooth because it wasn't smooth, but I can just tell that God had his hand on what was going on with him. So in the middle of that, we also got sued.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
Can't even talk. I don't even want to talk about that.
We'll just, we said enough.
But, personal stuff went down. Car went down twice. My refrigerator went out. I had to get a new compressor. It's just like, I was like, man, what is going?
What is going? That was, what? And it's crazy because, like you said, my year started off kind of the same way. It's like plumbing backed up, whole backyard is just, I'm like, what? Like, it's like those things, and it seemed like it's always like one thing after the other, and you fix one thing and then here comes something else. So I'm like, adulting don't stop.
No.
It don't stop, and it don't stop because you got other stuff going on. It's like, it's still like clockwork.
You still gotta do it. So as a man, that quote when I forgot what his name is, but I follow him, and he said that the true definition of masculinity is being what you need to be when you need to be it. And at that moment, it's like I had to be everything. I had to be there for my son. I had to console my wife. I had to be still parent a teenager in her junior year. Still had to budget, still had to take care of the bills, still had to work. I still do youth ministry at my church. All of these things I still have to handle. So when we talk about, and high value men and all these other things, it's character. What is your character? Because the amount of money you make, that may give you security, but when money can't buy your health,
it can't.
Money can't, all those things. And when you need somebody to step in and pray, and when you need somebody to step in and fast, or you need somebody to step in and be strong while, people are poking your child with IVs and doing CAT scans and
surgeries,
all these 10 different kinds of medicines and surgeries, and, you seeing your child get put under and not knowing if he's going to wake back up from it, and tubes down his throat, and all that money don't buy that.
Yeah.
So when y'all, and I'm not, and it's not just even men, it's women too. It's a human problem that we in this society put such a high value on financial stuff, when at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that money is just not going to be able to pay for.
I mean, how many times have I said that looking at the conversations that people have around marriage and relationships, most of the stuff that y'all be talking about is not going to be the hurdles. Like everybody always again, and sickness and health. Like, dog, cheating, y'all worried about cheating and phones and this and that. And it's like, there's so many bigger things that you may possibly have to face in a marriage that none of that is going to matter.
Well, I would say all that still, I agree with you, but I think even that still ties down to character.
Yeah. But that's
your commitment,
on a shallow,
your fidelity, all of that. Because to me, if you're not a person of your word, and you are saying vows in your marriage, when you're talking about marriage, that's your character.
That is true.
That is your character. And really what boils down to, what are your values? What do you believe? Mm-hmm. And when you go through something like this, it really does test, what do you believe in? And what are you standing on? Because at the beginning, I'll be honest, I am a firm believer in God. But the very first question I asked was, why? Mm-hmm. Like, we prayed for my son. Mm-hmm. Like, it was a battle, and I don't want to go too deep into that conversation, but just to be brutally honest, we were not in agreement on having him at first. And we prayed and we fasted. And then finally we were both in agreement. So it was like, okay, God is blessing us with the son. So then it was like, wow, you blessed me with the son. And then now you're taking him away from me. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
that's what it feels like.
That's honestly what it felt like. But in that chaos, and this is going to go over some of y'all heads and some of y'all not going to get it. And it's okay. At one point you will get it. What we believe in is in Romans 8:28. And I don't want to turn this into, for the length of the podcast, obviously you guys are calling for an update, but this is the update. So if y'all don't want to hear this, then y'all can turn off and go somewhere else. But Romans 8:28 and 8:29, that everything works together for the good for those that are called to his purpose. So I know God is a good God, but I know that we live in a broken world. So God is always going to use the things that are meant to crush us or meant to humble us in the ways that are good for that. Because in most cases, people will say, well, how could you believe in a God that would allow your son to get cancer? Mm-hmm. But in my eyes, I'm looking at it like, well, God is a good God. He would not allow cancer. We just live in a broken world. And he's using this to cement my faith. Because when he comes out of it, then that will just show how good God really is and the miraculous thing that God does in our lives. So I've already had my prayer time with him. And what God told me in my secret time was that he will be fine. And I believe him. Yep. And that's where I'm standing on that. That's what I believe. But I just want to just say this, that when we go through trials and tribulations and we go through things that are difficult, like, and it doesn't even have to be cancer. Like, that's obviously the extreme, but like, we're obviously going through economic recession, however you want to play it.
And the things that you already know is going to happen. Like, at some point you possibly are going to lose, family members, your parents, and things like that are going to happen eventually. You know what I mean? So
you're going to go through some type of struggle. You're going to go through some type of trial. You're going to go through some type of test. My question would be are you firm in what you believe and your worldview? Because those are the things that get you through. Yeah. And those are the things that, and really you're going to get tested. So your faith in whether you believe in God or your faith in whether you don't believe in God is going to be tested at some point in time. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's either going to get cemented or it's going to expose that whatever you built your foundation on is not strong enough. And that's in all aspects of life. That's
everything.
If we want to even talk about in your relationship, some points in your relationship, you are going to go through some tests that are going to cement whether you love your spouse or love your partner, or it's going to prove whether if it was built on a false foundation.
Well, I think what we see is, like you said, these situations or certain situations expose where your values and your morals lie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those situations where people realize that their values and morals don't align with the person that they're with. That's why I feel like you see so many people, once they have kids, they end up breaking up shortly after, because I feel like those kids expose that your morals and values aren't aligned.
Don't match
Especially
up.
when you get to starting how you want to raise your kids, your thoughts on different, like it exposes so much about, I know a lot of people that I talk to, I ain't got no kids, but a lot of people I talk to that have kids say it exposes a lot about themselves.
It does.
So I feel like that's when you start realizing like, yeah, we had this baby, but we don't really.
Well, because we're so, and when I say we, I'm not talking about everybody. This is just general. We're so superficial, and we are so surface level with our conversations because a lot of us don't want to deal with conflict, or we are comfortable where we're at and we don't want to rock the boat. So instead of having the difficult conversations about, again, what is your worldview? What are your values? What are your morals? We don't have those conversations. Or we
don't
do
know.
Or we do have the conversations, but you don't really know because you've never really gone through nothing. Because
Or people just think that the love is gonna make
gonna
it
mask it.
The love ain't gonna get you. Well, I mean, not saying it won't, but I'm just saying, like, when it starts to expose stuff, that love is kind of like, it ain't enough.
It's never enough, and you have to have a common man. Like it's the most important thing. Your values have to align. You have to align, and we've had this conversation before, and I don't know what episode it was, but even just down to the communication, when we talk about just okay, for instance, we talking about God. When I say God, okay, what God are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because your God could be totally different than my God. Or if we say love, your definition of love could be different than my definition
Or
of
when
love.
you say marriage, again, and I think not even just with your spouse, just in general, what I've started doing just for my own peace of mind is, before I engage in conversations with people, or I won't say debates with people, but if you want to talk about your marriage, what is your idea of marriage?
You gotta
before
define
we
it.
even start talking about
You
it. Like,
gotta
if
define
you
it.
feel like marriage is a contract and I feel like marriage is a covenant, that's two different value systems, which is okay.
But you have to define it, because on the
Exactly.
surface level, if I say I want marriage and the other person, I want marriage too, most people stop right there.
Oh, we both want marriage. What is your idea of marriage?
Right. And you got to you have to define it. You have to define it. You got to.
Because people will literally be on the internet arguing with people about marriage, or if marriage is worth it, or if marriage is, and you have two totally different ideas of what marriage is. So it's like, what is the point of this conversation?
Two totally different ways on how you perceive the same word.
Yeah.
The best example I had, I was in a class, and he had told everybody, he said, close your eyes, and he said, envision the apple. And then he went around the room, and he asked everybody, what did you envision? And one person said a green apple. One person said a red apple. One person said it was Apple laptop. One person said it was bitten. One person said there was a worm through it. Everybody had a different perception of what Apple was. So you got to define, okay, what, and I think in dating, and I know that was a weird transition, but
Because we talk about values, and
but it's true, is you have to be specific about what you want and what you're looking for.
And that's what I mean about being
what
intentional.
you stand on. And obviously things can change,
Oh, yeah.
but I think your core values don't.
Nah.
Unless you find new information, and unless they can.
They don't
but
change that drastically.
Generally, your core values pretty much stay pretty close to what the same is. So I just feel like we're not specific enough. And I think some people are scared to be specific because they don't think that they're going to be accepted. But it's like, but you're then causing pain for yourself later down the road. So the bottom line is you're going to go through something that's going to expose it. Just be cemented in who you are, what you believe in, and stand on it. I stand on my faith. because I know where my faith is, and I know my faith is true, and I know it's true because it's the only thing that's gotten me through what I'm going through. So long story short, that is what's been going on with me, and a large part of that is why we have not been recording the podcast. So I'm pretty sure y'all can understand why we haven't been recording, just because it's been, again, in and out of the hospital, blood transfusions, platelets, all kind of new terminology that I am just now coming to, that again, and has even exposed me to what the needs are. Like, I have a newfound respect for donating blood now. Like, and I'm O positive, so I have no excuse on why I can't donate blood. I'm universal. So, you know, I see the need because I saw it. I saw my son need multiple blood transfusions because of the chemotherapy knocks out your blood cells where you need it. You know what I mean? And I see the need for different platelets and things of that nature. So, you know what I mean? And obviously seeing other people need it. So it's like, okay, like before it was kind of like, oh yeah, like that's the good thing to do. But it's like, no, I see why people need it.
And you know, it's crazy because I feel like I had just recently seen like a joke about people donating plasma to get money. Oh, you broke, so you donating plasma. And I'm like, well, it's not necessarily
they wouldn't be paying
thing
for it if they didn't need it.
Yeah. So I'm like,
come on, man.
I mean, technically you are actually doing a good service. You know what I'm saying? Service. Like regardless of what your needs are at the end of the day, like if you said, if you really think about it, I never have thought about donating blood.
It's needed.
I never even thought about it.
It's needed. And just like, you know, and then we can go on to the next topic from here. But even just the simple fact of like, when you go to the hospital, and I don't know about other hospitals, but at UC Davis, you have to pay for parking.
Oh, wow.
So when you're there was one point I was there for maybe 2 weeks because I just didn't want to, you know, you don't want to leave your son there. I was there for 2 weeks. So it was, how much was it a day? $18 a day.
Oh, wow.
$18 a day times 14. You do the math.
Just on parking.
That's just on parking, plus food, plus all of that stuff. So, you know, there's people that are really like, and I live locally. There's people that drove 4 or 5 hours out because they're specialists at that particular hospital that they don't have, you know, close to them.
Local, yeah.
So is not even they're paying for parking. They're also having to stay and bring their clothes and stay at the Ronald McDonald House, or, you know, take 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or take a leave of absence from work where they're not able to make money. Like, there's so many other levels to what I experienced that it's like, man, like I could not imagine living in like Stockton or Antioch or somewhere and having to drive all the way out here to Sacramento to stay for months at a time if my child or somebody was going through something that serious. So, you know, we complain about, F this job, whatever. I can't stand this job. Just some people that were fired. Like I heard stories of people getting fired because they took so much time off of work, or because of what was going on, and because they couldn't be kept. So now they're in a conundrum because I have life to do, but I also have a sick family member, child, spouse that I have to stand by. So it's like a lot of the things that we complain about is like, and if I would have given anything to switch spots with my son. Like when I saw him on a ventilator, not being able to breathe, and then him waking up out of it and reaching out for me, I would have given anything to switch with him. So if you're healthy, you're blessed.
Absolutely.
If you have a roof over your head, you're blessed. If you have clothes on your back, you're blessed. And honestly, most Americans, we're like the top 10th percentile out of the whole world. Like out of everybody else in the world, we are well off.
Absolutely.
Have running water, have a grocery store you can go buy food from, have a car, you have transportation, Uber, all these things that we take for granted. And again, there are people that are in real need at your local hospital. So if there's anything to take out of this, for one, God is real. And for two, to please be compassionate, because the people that you pass on an everyday basis, you don't know what they're going through. And there are people who are needed to step up and help out, like with life. There are people that are struggling on an everyday basis. Like I thought about 4 or 5 nonprofits that I can start today. Like just helping out, paying for parking, that would help a lot.
Yeah.
That would help a lot. That's just taking that
easy.
simple thing off of somebody's plate.
Yeah.
I had it. Some people may not.
Yeah.
What if you don't have it?
So, but you just don't get to go, you know what I mean?
I have no idea. And they have social workers, so I'm sure that there's programs and stuff that help people, but it's even that was hard to navigate, like filling out the FMLA paperwork and doing all that. And it's, again, by God's grace, we both had employers that were understanding. But I've heard plenty of stories of employers that were not, and were making it hell. So when you come back to work, it's like,
I think honestly that was my biggest push to get out the private sector, to be honest. Because I just felt, I'm like, like you said, there's no compassion for anything at all. So it's like, if I ain't somewhere that's union, I can't do it. I'm just being honest, because
it's all about the bottom line. And yep. So we're good, man. We're going to have Jalen on here one day, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Once he rings the bell and once he gets through his treatment. So it makes you, man, it makes you change your whole perspective. Just even time. And just like, I feel blessed because I'm a very intentional father. But, you know, for those that have children, you know, kiss your kids at night, pray with your children. You know, spend time with your children. Go to the park with your children. You know, if they want to play a game and you're stuck on your phone, or you got home from work and you're tired, man, make the time for your children.
Yeah.
Because you never know. You never know. And then, you know, just it's just even dealing with the guilt. I felt guilty at one point. Felt like, man, how come I didn't catch this earlier? It was a lot of emotional and psychological and spiritual things that I went through during that time. But again, my faith is as strong as ever. And most people wouldn't have even, I don't think they even knew. They would have never known.
No.
I would have never known.
And that's why I say you never know what people are going through, because a lot of people, I mean, I don't feel like people don't have to share, you know, what they're going through. I feel like I shouldn't have to share what I'm going through for you to have compassion anyway. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like you should
Just common compassion.
Exactly.
Just being a decent person.
It
should not have to take, you know, what I'm going through.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree. So, long story short, that's where we at with it. But we back.
We back.
We are back.
We back like we never left. And we ain't going nowhere. That's one thing that you don't have to worry about. Breaks or not, we always gonna be back. And I feel like one of the things is we just heavily believe in the vision of what we doing. And I think that's what really kind of gets you to keep going. A lot of times, like if you're just doing it for the views, you just doing it for, you know, not genuine reasons, you gonna stop. I guarantee you gonna stop. You're not gonna, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and I feel like you really have to be invested. You have to have a purpose of what you're doing. Like,
Have to have a vision.
You have to.
Yep.
Because yeah, I
agree. Because if it was, I totally agree. Yeah, there's a lot of people I talk to that are in content creation, that do podcasting, that are in similar situations, and I would give you guys just the hope and the motivation to just keep going, because you started for a reason, so keep it going. There's a couple people I know specifically that have kind of fallen off a stop because life is happening, but I want to give you guys the encouragement to keep going, man.
Always pick it back up. I think that's one thing, a mistake that we make, that we feel like, oh, if you stop something, or if you didn't keep, like, no, you could always, first of all, you could always start over. You could always rebrand. You could it's not over.
Yeah. And it's hard to do that. It's hard to pick it back up, but once you get back up, then it's fine. And, and then obviously you guys already know all the other issues with, dropping members and all that. It was a lot.
Yeah, we had that, and then, but again, like each time we've always
came back, been persistent,
picked it back up and kept right on
and we
going.
will stay consistent. There will be no more breaks. There will be no more breaks. No, we may have like different versions of the show where maybe Steph's not here or I'm not here.
Right.
But we ain't gonna have no more breaks.
Yeah, we own it.
We gonna be consistent. All right. So
with that being said, make sure y'all subscribe to our channel.
Subscribe and donate.
Donations. Gifts.
Donate,
Gifts.
donate, please, because we are listener supported. We are Black owned, 100% Black owned, and we would really greatly appreciate the help and the support. And the great thing about it is you get to say that you helped us get to where we are going to go.
Absolutely.
And you were the early adopters of the ReVerb Experiment podcast. So, but we love y'all, and all prayers are welcome. All prayers are welcome. But all right, we're actually gonna the first, this is kind of like a little light introduction back in, just to kind of get us back acclimated for those that are new. For those that are new to the ReVerb Nation, and for those that are new to the new YouTube page and all that, I want to give y'all a round of applause. Thank y'all. Welcome. I know we've been posting, subscribe to the page, and ain't had a pod in like 6 months, but we good.
I mean, like clockwork. Like, make sure y'all subscribe. This y'all reminders to subscribe, and I'm like, we gotta give them some content.
Get some content. So, but we are back though. I just want to thank y'all, and those person that did reach out again. I want to thank y'all for reaching out, because it does mean a lot. I couldn't really divulge or tell y'all everything just because I just didn't want to tell y'all at that moment, but I'm telling y'all now. So I appreciate y'all, and we good. We are going to have some new segments, right? We're going to have some new segments. We're also going to have, I think, more of a diverse show and content that will be outside of the podcast as well. I think I do want to get into some one-on-one interviews and maybe some more group content, like some more live interactions. Yeah. Right. So we can make sure that you guys can interact, because a lot of times we have good conversations and y'all like, oh, I wanted to add in, or I wanted to say something, and
yeah, y'all be hopping in my inbox, and we be having some good dialogue in the inbox. So I'm like, we need to have this conversation publicly. Like, you know what I mean? So I definitely feel like people are itching to kind of get in on the action.
For sure. And we can definitely start having those conversations. I would love to hear from people. I think, again, conversations help advance the culture.
Yeah. One thing I will say from podcasts, I think I said it on here before, that I feel like it has opened my eyes to a lot of things and changed my thought processes and how I, perceive and view a lot of things. And, like you said, we have our core values, but at the end of the day, talking to more people, having these, in-depth conversation, it kind of makes you look at things a little different. Like, okay, that makes sense, So I definitely think it has a purpose.
Well, let me ask you this: in your time of podcasting, what has been the most insightful, or what have you changed your perspective on?
I would say, honestly, I ain't gonna lie, it opened my eyes a lot, like as far as like the whole feminist movement, and learned and internalized misogyny. Like, I really had not dove into healing those areas, and kind of it really kind of changed my mind on how I view myself, how I view other people, my judgment of other people. Like, it just, I don't know, it just really changed my mind in that aspect of, why are we so judgmental? Like, why are we so quick to comment on other people? You know what I mean? And I think what I realize is a lot of it is, again, projecting your own insecurities. So like, if I see somebody wearing something that I personally would not wear, like, say, for example, I'm self-conscious about my stomach. If I see somebody wearing something and they're not self-conscious about their stomach, I'm going to attack that person and say, why would you wear that? But again, that's how you feel about that. Right. That's you projecting so like, really just realizing that, like, we really just be projecting either our own insecurities, or we try to project and make other people take on our values, and they don't have to.
Right.
Other people don't have to live up to my standard.
Right.
I might have this standard for myself, but I don't have to force that on other people.
Right.
So I don't know. Again, having more compassion, understanding other perspectives, and being open to other people's perspectives, and being like, that's okay. We don't agree. We don't view this the same way, and that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That was a good answer. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and again, this is for those that are new. We typically will have a segment that is called The Internet Wins Again.
And the internet been interneting since we've been gone.
We have definitely, I'm so mad we missed the KeKe Palmer conversation, but it's all good. We gonna kind of piggyback on it though,
get on it
and we're gonna
bit.
talk about it. So the Internet Wins Again is a segment where we talk about the things that are hottest on the internet, that's trending, and we try to make it to be a bigger conversation. So we're over explaining today because some of you guys are new to the platform or new to the content,
and we've been gone.
So Steph usually introduces the topic, so we're going to talk about it. It's an overarching comment topic, and then we're adding a new segment that we will get to at the end of the show. So if you're watching, you will please stay with us. You will not want to miss it.
So today on The Internet Wins Again, the internet, like I said, has been interneting since we've been gone. We saw the KeKe Palmer situation. Then we also saw the Jonah Hill situation and the DDG situation. So we're gonna get into all of them. So starting out, we're gonna get on KeKe Palmer. I won't say we all know what happened, but KeKe Palmer went to the Usher concert. She had on a very, revealing dress. She was sharing the bag. Booty cheeks was out. And her boyfriend and baby daddy commented and said, "It's the outfit though. You a mom," and promptly got roasted. And his response to that was, "We live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother to his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please others, and he gets told how much of a hater he is. This is my family and my representation. I have standards and morals to what I believe. I rest my case." So that was number one. That was the first one. And again, I feel like this really does tie into our conversation about morals and values and aligning.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, we got to talk about this.
Absolutely.
Then to piggyback on that, not even, I want to say a week or so later, we got Jonah Hill and his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend put out some text messages between them. And basically he had issues with her job because she's a professional surfer and she does kind of like content creation around that.
I think she said modeling. But
modeling, there you go. So
same thing, content creation, modeling, same thing, all in the same breath. Yeah,
in the public eye, pretty much. So basically, he told her that she needed to delete some pictures off of her Instagram that were revealing. I think it was like her in a swimsuit or something like that. So his thing was, he said, "Respect however you want to live your life. You only get one." Sort of done with explaining myself. And he said these boundaries included not surfing with men, not having boundaryless inappropriate friendships with men, not modeling, and not having friendships with women who are in unstable places unless it's limited to getting lunch or coffee or something respectful. And he basically said if she was not willing to adhere to those boundaries, he was not the partner for her. These are my boundaries for a romantic partnership. So her thing was, she felt like he was weaponizing therapy talk to try to manipulate her. Then to round it out, we got Mr. DDG, which is Halle Bailey's boyfriend, who we all know was made history being in the Little Mermaid. And he put out a song that pretty much kind of aired out all his business. So in his song, he said, I've been so insecure that I be thinking you really be effing niggas you in movies with, but on the internet, I just be cooling it. But in my head, a nigga really losing it. Gotta be paying good because you keep doing it. I might just tweet something just to ruin it. I got a platform, I'm abusing it. It's a couple things about your job I want to know. When you shoot your movies, do these niggas turn you on? When you leave the set, do y'all still text each other on the phone? Just because they filming it, it don't mean that it ain't wrong.
Go ahead and spit, King.
So with all that being said, my question is, are men insecure or are they establishing clear boundaries and expressing their feelings?
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy.
Oh, so much to get into and break down. Okay, KeKe, we can get that out the way. We already know, we all agree on this, that he wasn't wrong for how he felt, but he was wrong for how he handled it.
Was he not wrong about how he felt?
No, I don't think he was wrong for how he felt.
I don't think so either. I mean, I don't agree, but again, you're not wrong for how you feel.
He was not wrong for how he felt.
I don't have to feel the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can say, I don't see there was nothing wrong with the dress. It don't matter. I'm not in a relationship with her.
Right.
He is.
Right. I think any self-respecting man would not be okay. And again, part of the problem is too, we're comparing regular people to celebrities.
But that's where I don't agree, because I feel like
nah.
No.
That's KeKe Palmer.
I get what you're saying on that,
That's
but
what
I don't agree with any self-respecting man. Like, I don't understand that part of it.
Okay. No self-respecting man would be cool. He may not say nothing, but he wouldn't be cool with his wife or whatever significant other, however you want. I know that they're not married, and there was people were trying to make a distinction between married and relationship. Nobody who is in a committed relationship, I ain't gonna say nobody, no self-respecting man that is in a committed relationship would be okay with his significant other going out like that. I'm just sorry. That's just the truth of it.
I mean,
they may not say nothing.
I asked my husband, I'm like, what do you think about the dress? He said he don't see an issue with it.
He lying.
And maybe he is.
He lying. I'm gonna tell him.
No. You know what? No, I'm not lying, because I have seen dresses like that, and I've seen married women dressed like that, and I have showed it to him and asked him, what do you think about this dress? He don't care.
He lying.
All right, maybe.
I mean, maybe we gonna have D-Lo on the show. I'm gonna ask him. He may be saying that, but and this is part of the problem is men have been conditioned to not be able to be honest. Because it is almost as if you're bothered, then you're not. And I'm not saying this for him. I'm just saying in general, that the less bothered you are, the more masculine you are. And in the reality is, if something bothers you, you should have the freedom to be able to speak it. Now, how you speak it is different. Like the way he handled it, totally wrong. Mm-hmm. I am a big proponent for you deal with it in private and you protect your partner in public. Yeah. You never open the door for somebody to disrespect your partner. No, and the way he did it was he opened the door for KeKe to be very disrespected over the internet. Yeah. It just backfired on him.
I think for me, I'm more, I mean, people probably won't believe, but I'm more on the traditional modest side. I don't necessarily, you don't really see me putting down people who aren't.
No, I know.
So you probably wouldn't think that, but I am. So yeah. I'm like.
Well, and you don't have to agree. As I'm saying, I think when I'm saying it, I'm not asking do we agree with.
No, I mean, as far as like with my husband, I feel like he's more on the, you should do more, you should, I just don't. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's impossible.
No, and I'm not saying that, but this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's not okay with it. The question is would he be bothered? Bother is if you feel any kind of way You have to have some emotion. And I think for men, again, we've been taught that emotion is bad. And that is not masculinity. We have been taught that emotion is bad for us, and then we don't know how to deal with our emotion. You know, you are being I don't know how we weaponize emotions and how that's like being stoic is being masculine. It's not.
Well, that's what, you know, y'all grow up with the big homie saying you soft or you this, you that. If you do show emotion.
No, I know.
So it's a learned behavior.
It is a learned behavior. And what I'm saying is, and especially on this platform, is to say that it's wrong.
Yeah.
That is wrong. If you are bothered by something, it's not wrong to be bothered. It's wrong for how you handle it. Mm-hmm. So it's not going on the internet and tweeting.
Well, we're in the unbothered era. We already know, like, Omarion was so praised when he was unbothered, but when it seemed like he wasn't, all of a sudden, like, I thought you were supposed to be unbothered. What's going on? Like,
but even in that situation, he had to have been bothered.
Yeah.
And again, not to bother to the point where you are obsessed with it, but that had to bother you.
I feel like people would. It's not about being bothered. It's about letting people know.
Yes.
Like, because I know a lot of people, like, the whole, even with how people move as far as like, oh, if I peep one thing, I'm gone, or I'm cutting people off or whatever. And you do it, like, ghosting to me in those situations is because you don't want to reveal or say what bothered you, or, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be.
But that's telling me that you're bothered.
Yeah, exactly.
You doing that is telling me that you're bothered. You just don't want to. You just don't want to deal with the conflict or the conversation. Sometimes it could just be resolved. Like, there's a lot of those consequences. Those circumstances that can be dealt with just with the conversation.
Mm-hmm. But if we have the conversation, I have to be vulnerable enough to tell you
that I'm bothered.
And nobody wants to do that. They're just gonna, if you moving funny, I'm leaving.
Yeah, no, that's whack. And then even the whole, oh, I ain't got to deal with this. You should know me by now. No. Mm-mm. If you have a problem, the most adult thing to do is to humble yourself and to explain what you have a problem with. Mm-hmm. Now, what that other person does with it, then that determines what your next move is.
Well, do you feel like that is what Jonah Hill did?
So this is what I don't like is, I don't like that we have used mental health as a weapon now. Now, on both sides. Mm-hmm. Now, he's using these words like boundaries and these and that, and he's well within his rights to set boundaries. He's well within his rights to express what he wants, what he doesn't want. But if I'm reading these transcripts correct, he's saying things like, you're right, we can't do social things or develop trust until you consider me and make decisions that give regard to our relationship. I have been vulnerable as possible, and I'm telling you, I am needing you to step up the plate, which you can, I'm sure of it, but these losers don't get your time if you want me. Straight up, it's consideration. I respect your love of surfing, but I respect myself as well. Doesn't sound like you respect your love for surfing.
No.
Because you're telling her to stop to do everything that involves surfing. And I'm sure she was surfing before you. So I respect his ability to be able to express his boundaries. But was she not surfing before you met her?
And I think that was my issue with the Jonah Hill situation, of all of these boundaries and what he say, standards and morals that you had for a partner. Mm-hmm. You had them before, mm-hmm. right?
Mm-hmm. I would think so.
If you already had those standards and morals, how did you end up with somebody? How did y'all already end up in a relationship?
And yeah.
Because she already, again, you're asking her to delete old pictures, not new ones.
Yeah.
Old pictures.
Yeah.
She's already been surfing. You're telling her not to surf with men, not to, like, did she just started having friendships with men, or did she already have friendships with men and you weren't comfortable with it and you still got in a relationship with her?
The only way I can justify what he's doing is if she started surfing after they got in a relationship, which I don't think is the case. And
even still, like, any job I go to, if there's men at my job, I can't do the job.
Right. Do you not trust her? And that's really what it boils down to. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want a woman to model, surf, be more modest, find a woman who is more modest, doesn't surf, doesn't model.
And you know what? I think that's my biggest issue with people with traditional values. You don't get in relationships with people with traditional values. That don't make no sense.
Because we're told and we're taught to get in relationships with people you are attracted to.
And that's the problem. You're not basing your search for your partner based on your values, but then you're mad at the partner that you end up with for not adhering to things that they already wasn't adhering to.
Absolutely. That's the problem.
It makes no sense to me.
So he's not wrong for his boundaries,
Nope.
but he's wrong. Oh man, what was that? Somebody had a video about the price of admission. And I've used that when I talk to people about relationship advice. I tell them that. They'll say, like, for instance, so we're talking about men.
Mm-hmm.
Like women will say, I want a man that's more emotionally intelligent, or I want a man that's more vulnerable, or I want a man to be this, or I want a man to be this. And it's like, so then when I ask them, well, is the person you're with, is he that? No. But that's what I want from him. Well, why was that not the requirement at the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or if we're talking about modesty, I want a modest woman. Why was that not the requirement at the beginning?
I think that was my issue with the whole Kanye and Kim situation. Bro, you knew who you got with.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Like, you knew who you got with.
See, but it becomes more serious when there's kids involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's not my idea, your idea. We can just live in what we both have in common and not have to talk about the other things. Now it's, no, these are the imprints that I'm instilling in my family.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Kim later said that Kanye was right about some of the stuff he was saying. So, I mean, it's some of it is, it's very much a controlling thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's who's right and who's wrong, and not what's best for the better good of the family. But again, that boils down to values.
And I'm not even talking about not even with the kids. Like with that, I get it, because at the end of the day, you got to co-parent, no matter what.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about when they was married, like
as far as how she was dressed,
how she was dressing and this, and it's like, bro.
Well, but we also have to consider that he did have a pretty drastic conversion later,
and that happens, and that's why I tell people when people are like, oh yeah, like you said. Your core values don't really change that much. His changed a lot. Mm-hmm. And then what do you do from there?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and as a spouse, you have to understand that that's a pretty drastic change. So you can't expect her to drastically change overnight. But obviously there's mental health issues dealing with that. So that's another conversation. But as far as Jonah Hill, again, he's not wrong for how he feels, for his standards and all those other things. But I would implore him that you find that from the get-go. What is the price of admission to get in? Mm-hmm. And if you did not charge it at the door, then it's going to be very hard for you to track somebody down and charge it to them after they're already on the ride.
Hello? I think too, like I keep seeing people say, oh, see, y'all want, like you said, you mentioned it. Y'all wanted men that were emotionally intelligent and, you know, shared they feelings and they thoughts, and now y'all don't know what to do with it. And to me, I don't feel like it's that. It's the fact that what I think men have to get comfortable with, because we've been dealing with this all our lives, of women having certain standards, morals, values, or whatever men told us. You ain't gonna find nobody. Mm-hmm. You got those your standards? Oh, you ain't gonna be able to find nobody.
Yeah, that's true.
Just because you have them?
Actually, I think
it's not that you're not gonna find nobody, but it's the fact that nobody has to agree to or adhere to your standards. And I think it's not that we're bad about it. It's just like, oh, you're gonna have to go find somebody else.
Well, I think because most of the time when they communicate their standards, they're talking about their preferences.
That too.
A lot of times when I hear standards, it's height, it's weight, it's build. It's like, that's not a standard. Mm-hmm. That's a preference. Mm-hmm. Your standard should be character, values, beliefs, how they treat you. That should be the standard. The preference is tall, dark, handsome, 5'4", 34, 32, 36, whatever the measurements are. Because what if you find the perfect person as far as personality, value, chemistry, all that, but they don't fit that mold? Then it's a no. But men do this, and this is, I'll admit to this. Men will get the prototype and try to instill the values in. Mm-hmm. And try to, we always say, oh, don't save no hope. Well, that's what y'all be doing.
Well, shoot, I feel like women be doing the same thing.
Project men.
It's like, girl, no.
See, because what they think, I think what society thinks is, that attraction will not grow.
I've been in that situation where it does. Like, I've actually met people that weren't necessarily.
I have too.
And I'm like, and then I was very attracted to them once I got to know them.
Yep.
So it was like that initial, like, there's something there as far as like, you know, connection value wise. You know, you just kind of be like, oh, this is a cool person. They don't necessarily meet what I usually date or what I usually go for. And as you get to know them, then it's like, the attraction was like,
I like being around this person.
I never thought I would be.
I think it's attractive to want to be around somebody, because we've all met people that are attractive and we're trash, and we're like, I don't even want to be around you.
I don't have fun with you.
Yeah. So I think the notion is, especially for men, is find a woman you're attracted to, and a lot of men find women they're attracted to because they're in the back of their mind thinking, if I find a woman that is attractive enough, I won't cheat on her.
That's a whole nother conversation.
But it's true. Is they're scared of, because they've lived a very promiscuous lifestyle. So they're in their mind is, in order for me not to cheat, I need to find a woman that is bad enough to satisfy my sexual lust.
And you know what, I believe you. Everybody's response to Ime Udoka cheating on Nia Long. You cheated on Nia Long? Like, bruh.
Well, same response.
If you're a cheater, you're a cheater. But they think if you find enough, that will stop them from wanting to cheat.
Same response that we gave to Jay-Z when he cheated on Beyonce.
You cheated on Beyonce?
Because how much work and effort did he put into getting her? And then when he got her, then it was like, you still cheated on her.
That's like one of the main things I can't stand. Like, a man will hound and harass you for your time just to waste it.
Well, because again, it's you. What habit have you created? You have practiced divorce and over promiscuity and multiple women at the same time to satisfy what you need. So if, for instance, if you're used to having 5 sandwiches a day at lunch to satisfy your hunger, then one day you're expected to only have 1 sandwich a day, you're going to be hungry. You have developed the appetite for 5. And that's why I be trying to tell men that you need to be very careful on how you conduct yourself in and out of relationships, because you are setting the door for your behavior and your habits. So if you are, I'm a proponent for dating multiple people, but intentionally dating multiple people.
And you know what? My thing too is, I mean, I get that part of it. I definitely agree with you on that. But I also, again, when I talk to people about dating, I ask them from the gate, what do you want? What are you looking for?
What's your intention?
Because it's like, if you're looking to hang out and have fun, then I feel like the requirements and how you move is different than if you're trying to intentionally date and settle down with a partner. And that's okay.
Yep, I agree with that.
That's all. You might be in your single fun era. Cool.
Hang out, companion, whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But I personally implore people to definitely practice sexual discipline. I think
that is non-existent in 2023.
Well, oh yeah, I know that. I'm just
people have literally told me they could not wait 2 weeks.
And you know what makes no sense? Because I'm like, some of y'all have children and a baby mama, so you didn't wait because you know it's.
I guarantee you that.
How long is it before you
they looked on Google? Well, the doctor tells us 6 weeks.
I know it ain't. But the way niggas be acting, they ain't making it to 6 weeks.
But I saw there was a post about that, and the comments were like, "No, 6 weeks is a lie." I Googled it. I'm like, nigga.
That is insane. And my thing too, like, even it was a post that was like, I want to say it was like a week.
My niggas.
Was it a week or no? It was 2 weeks.
On, dog.
It said she ain't had sex with you in 2 weeks. Maybe it was a meme or something like that. And everybody was talking about it. I'm like, bro, you do know women have. Do your woman have a period?
Look, all right. Can we just have a conversation?
That's at least 7 days sometimes.
Because, and we touched on it, and we gonna have this. If we can get I really want to have a sex expert on the show. I might even have it there. I'm gonna find a therapist to talk about it. I don't even want to say it's men. It's men and women. We just look at each other as sexual objects. We objectify each other. Because look, if you can't even listen to the doctor to say wait for 6 weeks,
bro, get your life together.
That is telling me that you don't care about her well-being. and your sexual fulfillment is more important than her safety.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because, dog, she just her body went through one of the most traumatic things that she will ever go through in her life. And instead of you thinking, how can I help? How can I alleviate the pain? What can I do? Can I cook? Can I clean? You thinking, oh, nigga, time's up. Spread them legs.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's crazy. See, but I mean, again, we're gonna have to have this conversation when the black community, man, we are overly sexualized. When it comes to the amount of children that we have at a wedlock, when it comes to the abortion rate, when it comes to all of that, a lot of the problems that we attribute to the system, a lot of it is just self-inflicted. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and say that we overly sexualize ourselves. A lot of that has been systematic,
right?
But we have not done ourselves any favors. We have not done ourselves any favors.
But that's what I was saying as far as unlearning all of these toxic mindsets and views and I'm just kind of like, you really kind of sit with yourself and say, where did that come from? Like, where did that ideal come from in my mind?
Yeah.
You start questioning. You get to that age where you really start questioning. That's why I tell people a lot of times, like when it comes to like advice or whatever, I focus more on you focusing on yourself and getting to know yourself. Cause I feel like that is going to set the foundation of what your morals, your values, your views, what really matters to you. Because a lot of the stuff that we think has been taught to us and told to us. You know what I mean? We've been told that, we should strive for the American dream and we should. So it's like a lot of the things and ideals that we have were given to us. So what do you really like? What really resonates with you? Because you might be looking for a partner in things that you don't necessarily truly believe in.
Yeah, I agree with it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to know who you are first.
Well, and then and back to the main conversation, that will help you better set more healthy boundaries.
Absolutely.
If you know you, but we also have to understand that sometimes you don't know you until you're in the situation.
Right.
And that's why I think that in relationships, that's why it's good and healthy to date, so you understand those things. But like, that's not how you, like how Jonah dealt, that's not how you deal with that. No. And people are calling him insecure. Well, that is insecure. And hopefully through this, he sees he's insecure and maybe goes to counseling or go to therapy to figure out why is it that he's insecure. It could be with how he looks. I mean, just because you're an actor and because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that you're still not human.
Hello.
And to be honest, he doesn't look like the typical Hollywood actor. No. So he could be insecure thinking that or maybe he was cheated on in the past. I don't know.
Right.
Only he knows that. But there's obviously something that's triggering this fear of basically her cheating on him or her leaving him, some type of abandonment. There's something.
It's deeper. There's
something there, and I don't like how she dealt with it either, though.
Yeah, because like, what was the point of bringing it to the internet? And again, I'm never necessarily gonna be about bringing shit to the internet. Like, what does it do?
No. And this further, and I'm not saying even him, but I don't know. I just don't. I don't like this age of let me leak all the transcripts to show. It's like, because people are operating in the framework of that this is a private conversation.
I think too, like, it makes it even harder
to be vulnerable.
To want to be vulnerable, because people are always looking to try to expose you, or you never know. Like, it's crazy now how it's that, oh, I got you, I got receipts, and I got, it's like, I'm all for a good receipt, but not necessarily just to manipulate and expose people.
No. And then the fact that some of those transcripts go all the way back to 2021. So it's like, are you just keeping all this stuff?
Oh, baby.
Good Lord. Is that what women do?
Stop playing.
I know. I don't delete no text
messages. Did you
messages.
See, it was a post on Shade Room. Oh, girl, what's her name? Dwight Howard's baby mama. I can't remember what her name is.
Reese,
yeah.
something?
Royce, yeah.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
She literally pulled out a bag where she had like 20 phones. She had all her phones back to the sidekick. She pulled out like 4, 5 sidekicks, all these phones. She's like, I never get rid of nothing. I'm like, damn, I'm about receipts, but baby, it ain't that deep.
No. No, that's crazy.
And then recently, did you see the post where the girl went back and saw the 6 years ago conversations on her dude phone, and he was talking about how she was ugly and
yeah, I saw that. Well, see, but I don't delete my text messages, so I can understand that.
So I mean, again, it's the same thing. She is exposing text threads. People don't be deleting them threads, and like even if you delete a thread, like if I delete our threads today and I go back and text you, it's gonna pull up that old thread.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It does on iPhone. I don't know about your phone.
When I delete a message, it's done.
No,
I can archive it.
No, I don't know if there's a way to like delete a thread, but I've gone through and like deleted all my threads and then be like, oh, let me text so and so. It bring up all that whole.
I need to stop texting iPhones, man.
So it's like,
oh man,
I'm sure there's a way to delete it, but it don't be gone.
Y'all better start making these people sign NDAs, man. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yes, because we've had a couple of different threads.
I'm about to go send out some NDAs. Y'all gonna be pulling up texts from 2015 and. Ooh, okay. Who was the other one?
DDG and Halle Bailey, and he was talking about how he was insecure. He said it flat out.
But he did it the right way. He did it in music. Music is the only covering that like excuses the toxic behavior.
Because I feel like it's artistic expression.
Because it's artistic expression.
Yeah, I definitely could go with that.
Yep.
I could go with that.
Artistic expression. Drake has been doing it for years.
I don't feel like, you know what? I don't feel like what he said was that bad.
It was honest.
Maybe, yeah.
Do we want honest music or do we not? We want honest music. He was honest. I liked it.
I feel like.
And honestly, I can relate because from the beginning, the narrative was always that she was out of his league.
Yeah.
So that's not far-fetched for him to feel like that. And ultimately, man, I'm telling you, that is more common thought amongst men than it's not. We just don't tell y'all.
I think, you know what? I think we had a conversation about this off camera where I said, I feel like it's triggering for women because I feel like we've always been, not always, but we've been in relationships where a man was jealous of us. And I feel like that's why these
What's the distinction?
situations.
What's the distinction between jealous and insecure?
Well, to me, okay, one thing, like insecure is like what he was saying, like he, feels away
That's
or
insecure.
whatever. To me, that's an insecurity.
So you're saying like KeKe Palmer's that's jealous?
I feel like that's insecurity. I feel like we've been in, like, for me, in situations where you can't clap for me. You always have, like, I'm doing good, but you always have, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll have something good going, and you always find a way to come in with some negativity.
To sabotage.
So it's like, you're clothes, you're this, you're that. And it's like, it feels like whenever I have some good news or I have something good going on, you find a way
to sabotage it.
To come in here.
I got you.
And it'll be like, I got, a big interview tomorrow.
Yeah.
And here you come bringing up some text messages. Was you texting this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that, where it's like, bro.
Yeah.
What's good? What's really good?
Yeah, I got you. That's
and that's what people felt with KeKe Palmer, because right now she's really getting her flowers like she deserves. She's really, I feel like, being able to come back in the limelight, because for a long time, let's just be real, after that Trey Songz situation, she kind of got blackballed a little bit.
Well, and then the movie with Jordan Peele didn't do Peele. I'm sorry, didn't do so well. And that was supposed to be kind of like her, like.
And this is, to me, I feel like her comeback era. Like,
because she just had a baby. I think that's what was triggering too, was that a lot of women are very insecure about their postpartum bodies, and she was, so they looked at it like, okay, she's like getting back in her femininity or whatever they want to say it. So
she said it herself, that she, before having her baby, she was very self-conscious, and now having her baby, she is starting to kind of find herself in a lot of ways. And
I got you.
So again, like you said, it's triggering for women,
Yeah.
But it seemed haterish only because of the fact that just say you was mad that she was KeKeing with Usher and call it a day because you posted on her on your story twerking.
But men knew that's what it was. There's a whole Boondocks episode dedicated to that.
Like, just call a spade, bro. She was KeKeing.
But it was also what she was wearing. I think if she wasn't, I can't speak for him.
Nah, I feel like if she was covered, it still would have been this. I think it was more so.
I think it still would have been an issue. It just wouldn't have been as. I don't say when I say violent, I don't mean like physical violent, but it would not have been as of an abrasive response from him. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I don't know.
I feel like there's a thin line as far as like with insecurity and jealousy.
Well, and I think men have to realize, and I might get killed for this. This is not going. I'm just being honest because people don't want to be honest, especially on these podcasts. The same way that when you get a haircut and you walk around and it feels good for you to get complimented. And I am not comparing a haircut to her. Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Ass out. But I know women, like the same way that where women will go to a club with their friends and they'll take a compliment, but then not want to dance with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, it felt good to be like acknowledged of your, you know what I mean? Which even in these days, it's even harder to do because you say something and then you kind of get this negative response back. But we are, in our society, we are very vain and we are very self-conscious of how we look and how we represent it. So it does feel good to be validated that you are attractive.
But you know what?
Especially when you're in a relationship, because sometimes it can get to a point where you're past the kind of the lust honeymoon phase and it's more like kind of like almost like, do I still got it? Like, am I still attractive? Am I still this? Especially, I would think, and I can't speak for her, but obviously she said she was already self-conscious. She just had a baby. And it's like, even though you are KeKe Palmer, you're still human. So it could have just been as simple as, I wanted to feel sexy.
But this is the thing.
Right? Is that a good point or no?
I think men don't understand. Like, again, y'all believe everything that we do is for the male gaze.
No, I know.
And that's the biggest problem is that, again, when we say, I want to feel sexy, it's
for
always
yourself. For yourself.
But honestly, what men have to realize is a lot of times women don't even do things for the male gaze. We do it more so for the female gaze. Let's just be all the way honest. My husband will have me out here looking crazy if I just went on what he liked. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? Like, he'll be like, oh, your hair looks fine. And I know it don't. And I know if I see another woman, she gonna peep what's wrong with it. Y'all not. You know what I mean? So a lot of times, like, even with fashion, like, y'all don't necessarily know fashion. So, like, if he'll be like, just wear them shoes. Why? And I'll be like, why would you even?
But that's different, though.
No, it's not. I'm just saying.
He with you.
No, I'm not. No, I'm saying as far as, like, he does not understand. I won't say I don't dress for my man. I know he's going to think I look good, but he's going to think I look good even when I look trash just because he don't necessarily
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Understand fashion. And
that's what
I'm going to put it like this. I was at a wedding one time and one of my girls, her hair was like, it wasn't hidden. And she was like, I'm like, it looked fine. I'm like, dudes don't even be paying attention. She's like, I'm doing this for the bitches. And it's the truth. Like,
but what I'm telling you is, but that's not true. Men do know. But if he's with you, he don't care because he don't want you looking too attractive for other men. So he ain't gonna tell you, oh yeah, that's the one.
I guess
I'm trying to tell you,
but I'm explaining it as for why we do what we do.
I get it, but what I'm telling you is, men look at that as competition. I don't want to have to keep competing with other men for your attention. So I'm not going to be the first one to tell you to upgrade, and you know what I mean, like. Men don't do that because it's like, I don't want to have to deal with problems. You looking your baddest all the time results to problems. Somebody might touch your ass. Somebody might catcall you. Somebody, you know what I mean? And then there's conflict. Men are very territorial. Very. I'm trying to tell you.
I just feel like it ain't that deep. And I feel like, again, we women are to a point where we are tired of operating around Y'all ego. We tired of tiptoeing around niggas' egos.
That's fine, but women have egos too.
I didn't say they don't.
But okay, so
that's why we step out the way we step out.
I know, but in the same time, and this is why I had an issue with it, and again, not with her per se. If I was in her shoes, in his shoes, and if my woman did that, I get, if you want to feel sexy, that's fine. The ass out was just too much.
For you.
I know. That's what I say. For me. I can understand, but it was for him too. So my thing of it is, if you're in a relationship, you should be considerate of your partner.
My thing, I get that, considerate of your partner, but my thing is the judgment. Like you said, any self-respecting man, all that. My thing is, why can't we have different standards and that just be okay? I don't get that part of it. Like, it doesn't matter even if she stepped out.
I'm just going based
just
off
to keep it real. If she stepped out
mm-hmm.
and he didn't see nothing wrong with that dress,
mm-hmm.
what's gonna happen is the internet or people around him or whoever is gonna say, "Hey, bro, you should have a problem with that." And that's what I see a lot.
You got to be secure in yourself and what you want in your
exactly.
relationship.
But that's what I'm saying. People will try to tell you should be embarrassed. She embarrassed you, but she can only embarrass you if you are embarrassed by that.
Because there are some things that should only be seen by me. Your ass out in the public, I get what she's trying to do, but when it comes to a man that really does love you, that is in a relationship, and I'm sure there's men that love their women that don't care. Like Adam 22 is letting his wife getting blown out by dude that got a 15-inch whatever.
I think, but again, I feel like the standards need to be, we always say, get with somebody who aligns with your values and your standards. And then somebody will be with somebody, but we on the outside mad because they not aligning to our values and standards.
And I totally agree.
Don't make no sense.
I totally agree with that. The problem is though, they are in a relationship and he had a problem with it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why we even know about this.
No,
is because he tweeted about it.
I'm addressing your comment about any self-respecting man wouldn't be okay with that. That's what I'm addressing. I understand he had a problem with it. I'm saying we have to start allowing people.
Oh, for sure.
To have their own standards.
I'm just giving you what a general, and when I say any self-respecting man, we're talking generally. Generally, if you took a consensus and asked men, would they be okay with their woman who they love doing that? 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 would say no. Because there are some things that we want to be private for us. That men need respect. And if a woman does something that opens up the door for us to feel disrespected or be disrespected, then we're going to have a problem with it. And your woman showing things, private things, or being over revealing, and again, that's my perspective, but I guarantee you, if we took a poll, and matter of fact, I think we will take a poll. We'll take a poll. If you do that, it is disrespectful, because what is for me?
No, what are other men going to say about me? Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
See?
Yes, it is.
See? Y'all don't get it.
No. I get it, but I'm saying 9 times out of 10, that's what it is.
No. That may come along with it, but that's not the main issue. The main issue is the same way that we say, like when men ask for pictures. And then I'm gonna send you one on my Instagram. Well, why are you sending me one on Instagram? It's the same principle. There are some things that I feel like should be private for me. So what is sacred or what is private for me? If you showing the world everything, then what am I getting that everybody else can't see or has access to?
Are those people having sex with me? Are those people in a relationship with me?
But
are those people benefiting from what I bring to our relationship? No, they're not.
I'm talking about what I can see. What I can see, though.
It don't matter.
Because there should be some things that's left to the imagination. So what I'm saying is what I have access to see. I'm not saying what I have access to touch. Obviously, those are two totally different things.
I feel like that there's a certain, and y'all act like there's not, but there are certain men out there that feel like I have that access. So the fact that what you're seeing don't matter. So again, it don't even have to necessarily be ass out. It could be titties out or it's tight form fitting or whatever. But my thing is, there are some breed of men that are like, this is what I have, and you ain't got none of this. So this part of it, if y'all seeing something, that's cool.
Very slim, very slim, and more importantly, it's because even if the intention is pure, righteous, whatever it is. It's to the world, you're advertising yourself.
Again, what other people think.
No, but that's what I am perceived, because we already said it, that you are a representation of your spouse or your partner.
Again, caring about how other people view your spouse or view your relationship. That's really what it comes down to.
No. With men, it is respect. That is point blank, period. So if I feel disrespected, or if you open the door for other people to disrespect me, then I have a problem with it. And that's what I'm saying. It's not nor let it's that you're opening the door for me to be disrespected. Because the reason why he felt the way that he felt was because what? People were disrespecting him. Why would you allow this? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. He already felt.
You said exactly what I said.
But he already felt. No, but that's not the main reason why he was mad. The main reason why he was mad was he already was upset about it already before that. It wasn't that people pushed him to feel disrespected.
I mean, we could speculate.
I agree with you that's part of it. I'm just saying that's not the main part of it. That's not the main part of it.
I believe it is.
Well,
this ain't one of them conversations where you're going to change my mind on it.
And you don't.
And that's why women are saying that he was, that's why it goes to the insecure, because you're caring, you're listening, you're letting other people get your ear.
But I don't think that's insecure to tell somebody that you feel, because his thing was about his representation of the family and him. That's feeling as a man. I just think women...
No, because this is the thing. Because if you felt like that, the other things that you were posting and doing would align with that. And it don't. You're mad about what people are saying.
Because of where she was at in the context of who she was around. That's what I'm saying. Women really need to just sit down with they man and ask them about respect. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of things that you're going to hear that you probably have never heard before, because women do not understand respect. But they need to understand that men need respect. The same way that women need to be understood, men need respect. Respect is their love language. So if there's anything that you do that brings dishonor, disrespect, anything towards my way, I'm going to feel some kind of way. And that's any self-respecting man that has respect for himself. That's why I said self-respecting. Any man that has respect for himself is not going to tolerate disrespect. But disrespect looks different across the board.
Exactly. That's my thing. It looks different across the board.
So that's why I'm saying you need to sit down and have a conversation with your man.
I've always said that you could talk to you blue in the face with people on the internet and they could give you all the amens they want to.
No.
But if your spouse does not agree, it don't matter.
Right. Because disrespect looks different. Maybe raising your voice is disrespectful to him. It may not be disrespectful to somebody else. So you need to be clear on what disrespect looks to him. Same way, and we're not going to do this male versus, female versus women. Same way that I'm telling that men need to ask their woman, how are you what does love look like for you? What is the best way for me to love you? What is the best way for me to understand you? Because those things look differently across the board for them as well. So, and I think that may be where he went wrong, was instead of lashing out, you needed to try to get an understanding of what was going on in that situation, which I don't even understand.
You feel, though, like you should be strong in who y'all are. Again, like you said, establish what disrespect is, all of that.
Yeah.
But you cannot let outside people infiltrate what you have already
and on that part,
he was with your partner.
He was immature on that point because, again, he let his feelings lead to an action that was brash and immature. And once you famous and you put out a tweet, you delete it, it don't matter. People have already screenshotted it. They've already shared it. It's already gone it's already gone viral. Mm-hmm. And she warned him. She said, if there's any problems, private.
Yeah, she had already said that.
She told him point blank. And that's where he messed up on. He did not understand her. He said, no matter what the problem is, private. I'm going to be Stevie Wonder to the bullshit. That's what she said.
You should be. You have to be. Or I'm telling you, your relationship is going to suffer if you're constantly listening to or letting outside influences dictate how you feel about your spouse and what they're doing. If you have already established something, cool. But if you start to feel differently about what's established, you talk to your partner
first.
Period.
And Steve Harvey warned, but
you have to do that.
Steve Harvey warned her, though. I don't know if you saw that interview. You see that interview?
Mm-mm.
I'm a post it, where basically he was telling her, you need to get somebody that's on your level, that will understand what you go through, because he obviously did not understand. That's why she kept saying private. Because if it's not private, that's how it's going to play out every time. Every time. You're going to look stupid.
Yeah. And you well, I won't say you making me look so, but you're opening up the floodgates.
No, he made it look stupid too. Because if and this is why I don't agree with him. If your worry was your family and your perception, and if you are wanting to be the head of your family, if that's how you react as the head of your family, you making yourself look stupid. Because the head of your family should be calm, cool, collected, meek, humble. And that's what I'm saying. Like, men have to have that conversation amongst ourselves. What does masculinity look like? That is not masculinity. That is being a child and being upset because you see something you don't like.
Well, you're performing for the public. You're performing for
the same people that want to see you broken up.
Exactly. You're performing for those people that are saying, how could he let his girl do that? So let me publicly shame her for doing it so those people can know that I'm not okay with this. Versus if I do it privately, they gonna think I'm okay with this. You're caring about what other people are thinking outside of your relationship. And I'm telling you, that's the quickest way.
Well, and now you're the entertainment.
Yep. That's crazy.
And that's
I've had people do that to us a lot. Like a lot of how we move and do things. Like
you mean us? You mean who?
Me and my husband. Like I've had people do like you let him go to a party by himself, shit like that. Like people, you know what I'm saying. And this is something that we, you know, and ain't never been an issue. But if you allow outside people, and all of a sudden I'm like, maybe I shouldn't trust him going to no party. That's what will happen if you allow outside people.
If you're not secure.
If you're not secure, it's like if we already have this established trust, we already have this established of, you know, what we do, how we move.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even like me and my brother-in-law, we close. Like I kick it with him a lot.
Right.
And people like, your husband just let you go over there and da-da-da. Like stuff you're not even thinking about this. But this is the shit that people are inserting into your ear. And if you allow them, you feel me? Like you have to be careful.
Well, and
with
you gotta push back. I would say, well, why would I not? What are you? It really is. What are you afraid of? That's the real question.
I start to see when I see some conversations like, I would never be around my husband's friends, and I'm like, really? Like that's a thing? Like I didn't know that.
That's a thing for some people, but again, and some men, that's a respect thing. Like, when my friends are over here, don't come out of the room because I don't get it, but for some men, that's what it is, because maybe they don't trust their friends, maybe they don't trust their girl. I don't know.
That even you know, like my husband work graveyard. We'll all be, you know, kicking it, playing games, game night. He be like, all right, I'm out, I gotta go. Everybody's still here kicking it. Like he's not gonna be like, you gotta go home because I gotta leave.
Yeah.
But some people do that, and I'm just like, I don't understand it. But again, when you have any self-respecting man, that's how it always becomes, that where people try to question you and try to press you and act like something is wrong with you because you don't do things the way they do it. And I don't like that. Yeah. I just don't. Sorry.
I understand what you're saying, but as far as the generality, I know what men are and how they move and what respect means to them. That's how we're wired. And I just, women just don't get it. And it's fine. That's just fine. And again, it was more in a general sense. Of course, there's men that may be okay with it. Again, like I said, Adam 22, he's allowing his woman to do porn. Okay, that's like
Was she doing porn before him?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. But again, even still, if he cool with it.
But that's what I'm saying.
If you like it, I love it.
I'm not saying that he's not a self-respecting man, but I'm saying for the majority of men, they would not be okay with that. I know I wouldn't. No. That's not happening. And then you cool, and then she, obviously you don't know what happened, but yeah, then they have a podcast. So she,
I seen it where she was like, she was
came
sore
on a podcast
and all
talking
that.
about she's sore and no, what are you doing? See, again, it opens up the door for your husband to be disrespected. Why would you do that? If you wanted to do that, never mind. Obviously, that's the right match for them. So whatever.
But it ain't baby, me. If you like it, I love it. I'm gonna stick beside that.
I guess I don't know. That ain't happening over here. And I would say 99% of men would not allow that to happen. So.
You know, I say that all the time. You know, when you'll see people be like, I would never. And my answer is always, then don't.
Yeah.
Keep nevering. Yeah. Nobody telling you got to.
But we gonna have that poll. We gonna have the poll. I think it's important. Okay, we got a relation. The new segment. I don't even know. I got even noise for that. We'll do that. New segment.
New segment.
Relationship advice. Since we've been talking about relationships the whole damn pod.
The whole damn pod. It always comes down to, I feel like we just in the gender war era, so it's just always gonna be a conversation.
Yeah, and you know what? But I think it's good conversation.
Yeah,
because it's getting to a place where we're trying to find a place where we understand each other. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, not everybody's doing that, but that's what we're doing here.
That's what we're doing here.
So I applaud ourselves for that.
Mm-hmm.
But man, this one is a doozy. So for our relationship question, this pod, my fiance wants his father to check my hymen the night before I get married. I'm gonna just let that sit there for a second. So the backstory, my fiance proposed to me about 8 months ago. We decided on having a relatively small wedding, which is in 2 days. Everything was going great. He seems absolutely perfect, and we are very much in love. I'm a virgin, and so is he. He wanted to save it for marriage, and I wasn't fussed, so I agreed to saving it. He has told me earlier that in his family, the father checks the virginity of the bride the night before the wedding. I laughed this off as it seriously sounds like a massive joke. No, turns out he was dead serious. He wants me the night before to open my legs up in a small ceremony type thing so his dad can check me while him, his brothers, and uncle can watch so they know I am still pure. I told him fat chance I'm going to do that, and he was begging me to go through with it and how important it is for him. He said he knew it was slightly embarrassing for me, but his mom did it, and it will prove how much I love him and that I have nothing to hide anyway, as I am still a virgin. I left, and he was crying. It was very dramatic, to be honest. I want to call off the whole wedding because of this and never talk to him again. But at the same time, it's only one thing. And other than that, we are generally perfect for each other. And I don't want to spend my life with anyone else. And it's very important to him and his family. What the frick frack do? I am currently at his friend's house and I might stay here for the night. Tomorrow would be our last day as an unmarried couple. And I am straight up panicking. So, as two virgins in a relationship, his father wants to check her hymen the night before the wedding. Is it a yay or a nay? Should she run? It's so much wrong with this.
Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. And I'm going to assume that it is tied to some type of tradition or religious.
Gotta be.
Has to be.
Gotta be.
That's the only, if there's any caveat to that, that's the only thing I can think of. Like, and again, I'm very ignorant, so I don't want to even attempt to guess what part of what religious that is. But I would assume it's some type of like Eastern Orthodox, something very traditional. Because if it said, because it said that his mom did it,
right,
and it sounded like
a tradition.
Yes, so because they're not even asking the doctor to check it, they're saying that the family has to check it. So kind of like a bride price, or you know what I mean, like something of that nature where it's been done within their family. So my question would be is, if you guys are so perfect and love each other, we talked about it before, values. How has that not come up?
Yeah. And
it only came up 2 days before the wedding?
Because how's that not come up? And if it is tied to, like you said, a religion or something like that, do y'all not share the same religion? Because how do you not know? That's
where I was going down.
How do you not even know about this if it's...
Yep.
If that's the case.
If that's the case. So I'm a little taken back that this is the first time it came up. And I'm a little taken back that it's 2 days before. It almost seems like it's kind of like a, not necessarily a bait and switch, but waiting to the last minute to ask because we know that we're already locked in for the wedding and we know that you're not going to say no.
It's manipulative. Like it's it's kind of like how when people, like you said, omit. Like omit and it's not technically a lie. Like, no, you knew if you had given that information earlier, the decision may have been different.
Yep.
And that's trash.
Yeah. So for her sake, if and obviously I think some women may be okay with that. Obviously she's not. My question would be, in her shoes, is what other information have you omitted? And what if we seem so perfect? Because me being married, I know, and going to premarital counseling, perfect is not good. It's a red flag, low-key. That you should have conflict somewhere. So if it's perfect, that tells me that either A, you guys are just made for each other, or B, somebody has been playing the role along to keep things like, you know what I mean? Like to keep
I doubt it's perfect. I think honestly, when people be, trying to tell a story, it's kind of like, you really want this relationship. Yeah. You really want it. So you're saying this is the reason why I want to leave. But then everything is good though.
You put the representative.
I feel like you putting 10, she putting 20 on 10. Because that ain't no way.
You put forth your representative and not who that person is. And again, like I said, I'm very ignorant and I'm really not trying to put no blame on nobody. Or no religion, because I don't know, because we don't know, because there's not enough information. But it's very reminiscent. Like if you watch 90 Day Fiance and you see two people that come from different religions, and it always seems like one person is trying to convert the other person. And it always starts off first as, oh, I'll do whatever you want. It's perfect. It's good. But then as the deeper they get into it, it's, oh, you have to wear this. Oh, you have to pray like this. Oh, well, babe, if you really love me, then you'll convert to this, or you'll convert to Islam, or you'll convert to Christianity. You know what I mean? It's always this like breadcrumbing. Follow the breadcrumbs, and then it's deeper and then deeper and deeper, and it's like, well, if you love me, you would do this. So,
and it's crazy because I have a friend, and she met somebody that was like dope, like as far as like person, cool, like, oh my God, he's cool, he did all these different things, but then it was like, she found out that they didn't share the same faith, and she was like, "Oh, that's that."
See,
immediately, and most people would be like, "Okay, but maybe he checks off all these other boxes and and this and this and that." But again, I respect that so much to be like, we don't share the same faith. That's the end of that. I don't have anything against people who try to make it work. But again, like we said, values
gotta be equally yoked.
Values and morals have to align. And I feel like, again, most people's value system lies in their religion. So if that's the basis of my values and morals, and we don't share that, we already
not aligned.
I agree on that alone. So I respect people who, like, that's first and foremost.
Yeah.
Over all of these other preferences and standards.
I would say she needs to, just based on the information that we have, nah.
It's enough.
At the very least, you probably need to postpone the wedding. Before that needs to get worked out. That needs to get worked out, because that waiting to the second day, the 2 days before you get married, that's not cool. That seemed like that was intentional.
Absolutely. Ain't no way, because you been new. It's a tradition in your family. You didn't just...
Yeah, so why? So when you got engaged, before you got engaged, why was that not a conversation? Because if you're truly concerned that she's not a virgin, I don't know, it's manipulative, and it's. But again, I have to also yield respect for if that is a religious ceremony. But again, it's to give people the information up front. This is what I believe. This is my ceremonies. This is my family's tradition.
What's the ceremony for you? How do I know that you really a virgin?
That's true.
What's the, what I'm saying? But you got to check my high. Like,
that is true. No,
that don't make no sense. What's the point?
I agree. I just think if that's the case, it should have been communicated. So that way you give them the opportunity to decide on whether they want to participate or not. Because that shit ain't cheap. Weddings ain't cheap.
Yeah.
All that money, the dress, the makeup, the photographer, the videographer. If it's a religious ceremony too, I know how, ethnic groups get down, or, other than Americans, like Africans and Indians, and it's a big deal. I mean, weddings are a big deal in general, but our average is like 20,000. Like they spending 100,000 on wedding
Absolutely.
easy.
6 figures.
So
I just went to a 6-figure wedding.
yeah,
So
I'm siding with her on this one.
I'm with her. I feel like she should go. Absolutely.
I feel like if it's worth, if you really love him, I feel like it can be, try to work it out. But if they're dead set on that and you're dead set on that being uncomfortable, which that is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For the father and the brothers and the uncle to do that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Especially if you weren't communicated about that before, you didn't know what you were getting yourself into. Because then what's next?
Mm-hmm.
What other traditions are you not aware of that you need to do?
Absolutely.
Because we all know when you get married, them expectations be changing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes it do.
It be going from, oh, babe, I'm cool if you don't cook. It's good. To as soon as you get married, where the food at? What you doing? How come you ain't cleaning?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they be changing.
I think, too, again, it always comes to outside influence sometimes, too. Like, you know, you might be cool with some, but a lot of people allow themselves to be manipulated by outside people that ain't even, oh, shit, your wife don't cook? Your husband don't do that? Your husband don't, you watering your own grass? Like,
yeah,
you can't let that stuff get to you.
And we do what's best for what we do.
Man, like.
That's how it should be. But I get it. I mean, there are some, and even if it's not somebody saying it, we all know that there's social expectations.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
There's a social expectation for what a traditional husband and traditional wife looks like.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Well, I think that was good. That was a good one. So for y'all that are listening, we want to hear y'all opinion on the T.I. situation. Would you be cool, if you're a woman, would you be cool with your husband's dad, brother, family checking your hymen before marriage if it's your perfect mate? Or would you cut it off and say, I'm cool? And as a husband, would you, if that was your tradition, would you expect your wife to go follow through with that 2 days before the wedding? I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Not.
I think we're going to hear more from the women than we're going to hear from the men on this one. So, but that concludes the relationship advice segment. We want y'all's interaction. We want to hear from y'all. And I think it was a good first episode back.
I think so too.
It was a good episode back. So we appreciate y'all. So please check us out at ReVerbEXP.com. For those that are checking out on YouTube, you guys already know, ring the bell, like, subscribe, get us to 1,000 subscribers. I think they lowered the expectation, but we still trying to get to 1,000 anyway. And obviously, whatever you do, however you interact, share, like, comment, that helps out the algorithm and helps other people help us find us. And we will definitely have more information about how you guys can donate and help us grow the channel.
Absolutely.
Going forward. But outside of that, man, we out.
We out.
And we love y'all and we appreciate y'all. We'll check y'all out next episode. Peace.
Peace.